I spent my whole damn life in the city. I could go for broke, but the capital is in me. I spent my whole damn life in the city. Anywhere I go, DC's coming with me. I spent my whole damn life in the city. I could go for broke, but the capital is in me. I spent my whole damn life in the city. Anywhere I go, DC's coming with me. I spent my whole damn life in the city. I could go for broke, but the capital is in me.
Welcome, everyone, to District Divided, a DC sports podcast, more specifically a Commanders podcast. I am Amit. That is KDot. KDot, how are you doing today?
Doing pretty good. Been on a movie kick still, and that's been nice.
Yeah, I'm on a bit of one myself, actually. I also have had way too much coffee and not enough food, so we're going to see how this goes. But today's episode, not only is it going to be high on caffeine, it's going to be high on content, high on excitement. We're talking about the Washington Commanders offensive coordinator position. We've interviewed some folks. We have some interviews lined up. We're going to talk about some of the names and what KDOT thinks about the names and which angle we're going to take. We then are going to jump into the divisional round. We'll review our wild card picks. We'll go into the NFL divisional round. Oh, yeah, maybe KDOT certainly doesn't want to review the wild card, but we're going to. And then we, of course, jump into the comment mailbag in the after the pod, as we always do. KDOT, are you ready?
I think so.
Perfect. We're going to begin anyway. So we are now interviewing any number of candidates for this vacant offensive coordinator position. For those that don't already know, I suspect you all do, Scott Turner and the team parted ways a while back. And now we're going through interviews, names like Eric Studesville, Charles London, Greg Roman, who just got let go from the Ravens. There's some speculation there. KDOT, what are your thoughts currently on the names that are being thrown out for the offensive coordinator position?
Slightly boring, but that's to be expected, right? So, I think one thing I know that I mentioned in the last few weeks when it came to the Scott Turner thing was was how while I did agree that Scott Turner needed to go, I've still always been sort of a defender of a scheme, more about his game flow and play calling and successive plays, in the sense of setting up things to have success later on, or where you're putting the quarterback as far as shotgun or under center to set up things for going forward. So there's that element in which it's like, okay, how much do you want to rock the boat as far as the offense that you have right now, as far as the weapons or the talent you have right now, in the sense of having them learn an entirely new scheme compared to maybe even having somebody that will have something similar, but they have better game flow or they have better play calling? Because there have been a lot of times where I saw plays and I'm like, wow, I love the way that looks, or I love the space that they're giving Terry or Curtis Samuel. We just didn't have the quarterback to execute. And it makes it extremely hard if you're haven't set up the play action to make it work, right? So there's that. Then there's also, after in that press conference postseason with Ron Rivera talking about what it is that he wants, or the philosophy that he has, in the sense of the run first, and this is what we're going to do. And then you think about those aspects of seeing Scott Turner at certain points of the season where it seems like there was a bit of a disconnect, right, between what it is that Ron says that he wants compared to what it is that Scott Turner's doing, and where it is that lines up. So I think the priority number one is, we've talked about as far as having people on the same page, is they need to hire somebody with the same philosophy that Ron has, or a philosophy that Ron can get on board with. So there's at least there's some sort of symbiotic relationship that works and everybody going in the same direction. So that is something that's kind of exciting about some of the names that have been kind of rumored around. I mean, we've had guys that I was probably more excited about, like Darren Bevel, who declined to come and do the...
He's staying in Miami, yeah.
He's staying in Miami. He's just not going to do it. But then you have some other guys. So like Greg Roman's name has popped up. Mm-hmm. Now, I live here in Baltimore, and I know how much Baltimoreans fucking despise Greg Roman and have wanted him fired for quite some time. But if you look at Greg Roman and you look at his stats over the last how many years he's been an offensive coordinator, typically has a rushing offense that finishes in the top 5 of the NFL. But then the criticism goes, well, what about the passing stats? And when you look at the passing stats, they start looking extremely pedestrian as far as like there are times that they finish multiple times at like 29th or 30th in the league as far as passing. And that goes over, I think, the 3 places that he's been: San Fran, Seattle, and Baltimore. So like if you look at Darren Bell and like, all right, well, why are you really, or Greg Roman, sorry,
Yeah,
why are you excited about Greg Roman in that sort of sense? And it's like, well, look, if we're going to be a team, which the philosophy is that the run is going to set up everything else, then yeah, I want the best possible guy to put together the run unit. Right?
Yeah, and on the subject of Greg Roman, one man's trash is another man's treasure seems to be coming into play over here, because you, once again, when you marry what Ron Rivera and Martin Mayhew, our GM, said and how they want to establish the run and be able to have the play action off of that, Greg Roman makes a lot of sense. You also factor in that he's in Baltimore, so it's a very short move for him if he were to choose that. Right. Now, the only thing, of course, is ownership, and we don't know how offensive coordinators feel about maybe just being a 1-year rental and then being up and out again. So it is an interesting situation. I would suspect that we maybe look for somebody that's looking to make a jump from the college ranks, for example, or somebody that's a positions coach that's looking for an opportunity to be an offensive coordinator and sort of put a year on their resume that way. So it is intriguing from that perspective. You had thoughts there. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird balance, right? Is like
it's a unique situation.
It's a very, very unique situation. So knowing Ron, he's usually going to go older person that he might have experience with, or some other guys might have experience with it. And a lot of the names that we see surrounding this kind of fit that mold, right? So even if they talk about like Eric Studesville, who's coming to interview on Monday, who's the Dolphins associate head coach, and he's the run game coordinator there for them there, which is exciting. We know everybody loves Mike McDaniels, this guy. And then anything from the Sean McVay or Kyle Shanahan coaching tree makes everybody just a little excited. So there's that. But then you hear names like Eric Bieniemy, who I know a lot of people are like, why would he do that? But then it's because of that unique situation you speak of, right? If you have somebody, if Ron hires somebody at offensive coordinator that brings the offense to a hell of a certain level, then maybe he is auditioning for the new ownership to potentially take over. If they lose faith in Ron Rivera in the grand scheme of things, then you also have, all right, does an offensive coordinator think they're actually being set up for success? When they come here, and do they think Sam Howell's good enough? I know the skills position guys are pretty solid, but is the offensive line good enough? And if I'm bringing in a new system for a 5th round quarterback to learn after he's already learned a previous system, how much leeway am I really going to have before somebody might throw me under the bus? It's a it's a crazy dynamic that you're seeing right here with the offensive coordinator thing. I think what we need to do more than anything is just realize, do we want to make this as simple as possible? And knowing that while we do want somebody that we can be excited about as our offensive coordinator, I think the idea that we were coming from somebody in Scott Turner that was just a zero-sum terrible offensive coordinator, I think it's something that just needs to be calmed down just a bit. Yeah. As much as it's the play calling was the issue, the way that he was doing things were the issue. We don't have to do too differently as far from a scheming standpoint compared to what it is we've had to now. And more the continuity and having these guys learn more is the most important thing.
Yeah, I think that's excellently said. And I also just want to mention to temper expectations just on this offensive coordinator position, because as you know, KDot, we are a very reactionary fan base as a whole. And so it seems to be all or nothing. And that you cannot look at it that way here. So it's one of those things where it is a unique situation, as we've mentioned. So whomever we do get, give them the benefit of the doubt and let's see what happens. Other news that broke recently is that we'll also be interviewing Rams tight end and assistant head coach Thomas Brown for the OC vacancy as well. And then Pat Shurmur was interviewed. Charles London was interviewed yesterday. So, and he's the Falcons QB's coach. That to me is an example of somebody that maybe does make the jump up. Right, going from a position coach to a full offensive coordinator. I could certainly see that. Bieniemy is an interesting one. I think that is a name to monitor. I don't see it happening, but I would be curious. And also Byron Leftwich, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, KDot, did they let him go yesterday? I wanted to say that they did officially. He's got ties to DC from growing up. Who knows? Who knows?
He's just one of the only names on the list I don't really want right now. But
can you hear my dog barking, by the way?
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit? Okay, cool.
Momentarily.
My fridge or freezer just started like reproducing some ice or something like that, and he just lost his mind. Anyway, go ahead.
Reproducing ice? Or just
they reproduce in that freezer.
Got it. I think Byron Leftwich is the only name that I'm a little scared of, even though I want him to get another shot somewhere because I do think he's being scapegoated just a bit in Tampa Bay. Yeah, I mean, there's some interesting. Ken Zampese, our quarterbacks coach already.
Not a sexy name, but entirely possible, right?
Makes a lot of sense to me.
Might even call him the front runner.
I think it makes a lot of sense, and especially what you're hearing about when we talked about last week or before, when you have an offensive room or an offensive coordinator in which people aren't challenging each other or people aren't saying, "Hey, you should do this or do that." I don't know Ron Rivera is the most at fault for that if it's true because he's the head guy, but maybe you have somebody like Ken who's been like, "Hey, man, if I could have done it my way, it would have been a lot different." And maybe he shines in the opportunity.
Yeah, no, I think that's what's going to end up happening if I had to put my money on it. I'm honestly still stuck on reproducing ice, but let's move on to the NFL wildcard picks we made last week. And we will then talk about the NFL divisional round this coming weekend, which has some great games in it. So last week, KDot, you picked the 49ers. Picked the Chargers. Colossal collapse. 1-1. Buffalo 2-1, Minnesota 2-2, Cincinnati 3-2, Tampa Bay 3-3. I had all the same picks as you, with the exception of the Giants over the Vikings. So I finished 4-2,
which I said was a toss-up. You could throw it either way. I didn't really.
Correct. So 3-3, 4-2. That being said, I have a game lead over you. We are now going to go ahead and excuse me. We're gonna go ahead and pick these divisional round games.
So it's 65% for the year, which is damn fucking good.
Hey, that's terrific. And as you guys know, we only do the money line bets here. We're not going to look at the point spread. You can if you want to. If you feel very strongly about a point spread here, KDot, feel free to call it out and be like, yeah, bet that. But let's go in order. You ready?
Yeah, I'm just going to stay with money line because I have a lot of money riding on these games. I'm not going to jinx it by saying anything here on the pod. I don't want anybody trailing me.
Fair enough. Yeah, don't bring anybody down with you. Anyway, so let's talk Saturday, 4:30 p.m. Pat Mahomes is playing once again. He is hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence, who again had that insane comeback against the LA Chargers. Who do you have in that game, KDot?
I got Kansas City, and I give Jacksonville a ton of fucking credit for that game, as much as I also give the Chargers a lot of blame. I'm glad Joe Lombardi's gone, and Brandon Staley, the fuck. Look, strange things have happened. I do another podcast, and as my colleague James would say, strange things happen in Duval. Well, they're not in Duval this week. They're in Kansas City. And while it's been a hell of a story, the collapse that the Chargers had, they're one Mike Williams away from playing these Chiefs today, on Saturday. So I think a glorious run ends here, and everyone should be very proud of what Jacksonville was able to accomplish.
Absolutely. Trevor Lawrence also said, I can't imagine Arrowhead being any louder than Jacksonville. So we'll see what happens over there. But I'm also picking Kansas City. No further analysis needed. Moving on to Saturday night, NFC East showdown. Kind of hurts me to see that it's happening in the divisional round, but it's the Giants at the Eagles. We've got your boy, Daniel Jones, on the road. I can already tell in your eyes where you're going with this. Going against the Eagles. Who do you have? Here it comes.
Philly. So I'm going Philly. Now, this is a game in which this feels like my the Giants Vikings game. Not for the same reasons as much as it's divisional opponents. This is the third time they're playing each other. The Eagles had a bye. You never know how teams come out necessarily of a bye, especially in playoff time. When you have a New York Giants team with a Brian Dable that really feeds off of energy, and that win against the Vikings is one of those energetic sort of things. I still stand firm that Vanilla Vic, Daniel Jones, just confuses people. And as long as his running back, as far as the option is black, I think people don't know what to do. They look at the accountant or they look at the black guy. They go after the black guy. The accountant goes and runs for 90-some yards against you. So Philly is just an overall better team, but I do think the key to this is does Jalen Hurts take the next step in when it comes to a playoff and what he's capable of doing in the playoffs. Because usually quarterbacks that don't have a lot of experience in the playoffs, I don't really ride with too much. So
yeah. All right. So you got Philly. I had a lot of time to sit back and reflect on my racial biases toward Vanilla Vic over here. And when you had mentioned that when DNs like Micah Parsons see him, they go, I'm going to tackle Saquon Barkley. And I noticed that you were correct, that I was like, wait, I'm doing the same thing. I think Philadelphia is going to do the same thing. I think the Giants are well coached right now.
All right.
I think that they are getting a little hot. I'm going Philadelphia. No, I'm not going Philadelphia. I am actually going with the New York Giants because
Woo!
I have now seen Daniel Jones in a playoff game play really efficient football on the road. So why not? What is Philadelphia not good at since Jordan Davis got hurt? Stopping the run. Guess what? Saquon's a pretty good back. These teams know each other. The tensions are running high.
I love this pick.
Give me New York on the road Saturday night. Philadelphia fans got to see the Union lose in a final, got to see their beloved Phillies lose the World Series the same fucking day. And now, after the amazing season that they have had, first round exit for them. At least
and the Lynx gonna be quiet. The Lynx gonna be quiet. It's an 8:15 game, which means Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, will have been drunk for 9 hours. And around that time period is when you start feeling it. You've been up a long time. And then if the Giants come out and they start running the football, it doesn't feel as exciting. You don't know, you need to throw up. The food's not hitting quite right. I can see it. I can absolutely see it.
Yeah. So I'm going Giants.
Good man. Braver than Giants.
All right. Cincinnati Bengals Sunday, 3 p.m. against the Buffalo Bills. This, of course, was the game that never truly happened. It got canceled ultimately because of the injury to Damar Hamlin, who, thank goodness, knock on wood, seems to be doing a whole lot better now. Looks like he's going to end up making a full recovery, which is fantastic. This game has some controversy to it because had the game been played and had Cincinnati won, like a lot of people were thinking, this game would be played in Cincinnati, KDot. It's intriguing that this isn't played on a neutral field for that reason, but here we are. We're in Buffalo, Orchard Park. Bills are 5.5 point favorites. Who do you have in this game?
Yeah, I'm going Bills. So I'm going Bills. I love Cincinnati. I love Joe Burrow. I love that as you explained everything the way you have leading into this game, this does feel like one of those Joe Burrow rises to the occasion sort of things. Mm-hmm. But I also saw them struggle at times when it came to Baltimore, and I didn't like the way that looked. So against a Baltimore team, and I didn't think have any business being in the game, period. So I just think Buffalo's a different animal. But once again, as long as Josh Allen's not trying to play hero ball the entire time and compound on mistakes, give me Buffalo.
The thing about Josh Allen is that he is trying to play hero ball. The game against Miami was way too close, in my opinion. And last year, when the Bengals were playing against the Raiders in their first game, they looked a little shaky. Guess what? They end up making the Super Bowl. Give me Joe Burrow. This coffee has done something to me. Give me Joe Burrow and the Bengals.
You're about to smoke me
on the road. I'm not sure I am. I'm making some interesting picks here. But give me the Bengals on the road going, hey, sorry what happened to Damar Hamlin, but we would have beat you guys had that game fully happened. We're going to go to the AFC Championship game, and we're getting a KC-Cincinnati rematch. It's going to be interesting. Final game, Dallas at San Francisco. Sunday, 6:30. I kind of hate that this is the last game of the slate just because I want Dallas to get knocked out immediately. But here we are. The 49ers only 3.5 point favorites against the Dallas Cowboys, led by Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, and the boys. Who do you have in that one? Game's happening in San Francisco, of course.
San Francisco. Now, I know that I've been banging the drum that Dallas is going to do Dallas shit and lose, but I will admit that they were the most complete-looking team wildcard weekend, beat the everlasting shit out of Tampa Bay. Tom Brady tried to amount to something at the very end of the game, which I will admit, part of me was like, is this really about to happen? But I realized that, like, it's an impossibility, right? Like, it was, I will say this. San Francisco is an entirely different animal than Tampa Bay was, limping into that playoff. And if you look at what Dallas was able to do on defense, which is drop back and cover two, knew they weren't afraid of the run, not one bit, and was able to tee off when they needed to against Tom and lining up Mike all over the fucking place. San Francisco ain't the same deal. They will run the football on you. They are successful at running the football. And if you try to drop everybody down that box, Brock Purdy will make you hurt at different levels down the field. I just think San Francisco is a much more complete team. But once again, like always, when you got a pass rush and you can score quick, anything can happen. So Dallas will definitely be in this game. Dallas do have those tools to make it the entire way. But I'm trusting Dallas to do heartbreaking Dallas shit.
I love it. It's very important to see a QB in the playoffs for the first time. We talk about San Francisco's system, but you still have to execute it. Brock Purdy was excellent. Absolutely excellent. For being the last draft pick in this class, is what he's doing is nothing short of sensational. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it, honestly. And here's the other thing. Dallas played on a Monday night. This is the first time a Monday night game happened.
So stupid.
For wild card weekend. And now on a slightly shorter rest, and again, San Francisco got to play earlier, and they got extra rest. Dallas now needs to go across the country. Well, I guess from Tampa Bay to, they went back to Dallas practice, whatever. You get the point. I don't see it happening. I think San Francisco's too physical. I think they're too complete a team. And Brock Purdy showed at home he looks quite comfortable. So give me San Francisco as well. All right. So just to recap the picks, KDot, you have the Kansas City Chiefs beating the Jacksonville Jaguars. You have the Philadelphia Eagles taking care of business against the New York Giants. You have the Buffalo Bills also taking care of business against the Cincinnati Bengals and the San Francisco 49ers. You have all 4 home teams to make it quite simple, which means you will be wrong. I have Kansas City taking on the Chiefs and beating them as well. I have the Giants over the Eagles, Cincinnati over Buffalo, and then I agree with you on San Francisco. So we agree on 2 of those.
I kind of want to change my Eagles Giants pick. I'll leave it alone.
Did I convince you?
I'm sort of, man. It was the game that's like I said, that's been my Vikings Giants game. I just think the Giants kind of want to run. I don't think they'll make it to the Super Bowl, but I can see them absolutely winning this game. And I'm looking at what I did as far as the line on the game.
This is why when I looked in your eyes in that moment, even through the glasses, KDot, I could see that there was something there.
Yeah, man.
Game. I will give you 10 seconds.
Yeah, we're going Giants.
You're going Giants. We're switching it. KDot is on the Giants. So the only disagreement we now have, Buffalo, Cincinnati. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that switch?
I feel good. I
kind of want to switch to Philly now. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, good. I'm looking
I'm not going to.
I got a 4-leg parlay going this week with some alternate spreads.
Okay.
And yeah, it still lines up what I was saying.
Okay. Sounds good. So KDot now has the Giants instead of the Eagles. So he has all home teams except he's got the Giants on Saturday night beating the Philadelphia Eagles, as do I. Let's get to the comment mailbag.
They're gonna smoke the shit out of me.
And and we've got 2 comments, and we appreciate both you guys for commenting on our comment mailbag plus after the pod episode. Beginning with Vindo, back-to-back comments. Really appreciate you. Legit. Hey guys, love the podcast. Well, it technically says love to podcast, so maybe Vindo does love to podcast. In which case, hey, so do we. I got an interesting question. Beyond around need in the draft, who do you think will be a best QB in this draft? At the beginning of the season, it was Bryce Young and still might be, but man, CJ Stroud has me reminiscing for real. Also, outside of the draft, what position do you think realistically will be filled this offseason with free agents / trades? I think we can upgrade our linebackers. I like Davis, but I remember KDot saying that we cannot be a top defense with Josh Mayo starting. I assume David Mayo. David Mayo starting. Thank you for the comment. Really appreciate it, Vindo. KDot, I'll hand it to you first. So the first question is, who do you think the best quarterback will be in the draft? I guess to make it easy for the time being, because we still need to do our draft prep and stuff like that. The 3 names we'll highlight: Will Levis, CJ Stroud, Bryce Young. Those seem to be the consensus top 3 QBs so far.
I'm not super high on Young or Stroud. I'm not really high on Will either.
Okay.
This is not a draft in which I'm extremely high on the quarterback, but if I had to pick between those 3, give me CJ Stroud, I guess.
Okay. CJ Stroud.
I don't feel strongly about it.
He looked really, really good, in my opinion, against Georgia.
He
I thought he
did.
played a great game.
He did play good.
I'm going to go Bryce Young. I think there's something special about the kid. Even in moments where Alabama looked depleted offensively and he was running for his life, he was still making unbelievable throws. So I think there's something special about the kid. Give me Bryce Young there. And then the other question, again, is outside of the draft, what position do you think realistically will be filled this offseason with free agency and trades?
Anything across the offensive line is probably going to happen, and probably corner.
Yeah, I would guess those two as well. Linebacker specifically. So I think it's going to end up being linebacker corner.
I'm not sure what they're going to do with the linebacker position. I really don't.
Well, like you said, Del Rio's out of contract, so we got to figure that out too. And that's going to have a pretty heavy influence on proceedings.
I wish there was more news about what happened at that meeting with Ron and Dan this week, but I haven't heard anything yet.
Yeah, I haven't. And then we move on to Blood Clot. Appreciate you as always, Blood Clot. Thank you for the comment. I have 2 questions and a comment. So our defensive backs coach, Chris Harris, is drawing attention from other teams for some sort of coaching job. Our secondary stats are pretty good. We rank 4th or something like that for yards allowed, but you know damn well it hasn't looked that way. Our zone coverage is terrible. Guys seem confused as to what their assignments are. And although we look good some games, we look like our usual terrible selves in other games. Even in the good games, we were lucky with deep overthrown balls where our corners were beat or balls that shouldn't have been dropped. I know the secondary is probably the most mentally and physically difficult job on the defense. 2 of our biggest needs going into the draft are corner and offensive line, like we had mentioned. My question is our secondary a personnel problem or a coaching problem? The confusion in our zone coverages tells me it's a coaching problem, but maybe it's both. Why don't we start there? Because there's a bit more to the comment.
Yeah,
coaching or personnel?
It's both, but I know I've been on record here saying that I do criticize Jack Del Rio relying on the athleticism of the defense more than I think it has more than the scheme, which is why when you have guys like Cam Curl out, the defense looks so fucking different. Yeah. Because of how much they rely on him to do things. So if I had to put more on one than the other, I'm going coaching.
Fair enough. Yeah, I would also do the same. My second question is Amit responded to my question the other week that in the draft, he would want Joey Porter from Penn State. But today, who's a corner, by the way. But today you seem to have switched to offensive line in round 1. Did you change your mind? And if so, who do you want now? My choices from last week are still Paris Johnson from Ohio State and Broderick Jones from Georgia. Admittedly, I don't think I changed my mind. I think what I'll say is I'd be happy with either. I think if I had my choice as of right now, I would stick with Joey Porter Jr. I think he's going to be a spectacular corner in this league. But I think reading the comment last week and hearing about the offensive line made me go, yeah, offensive line round 1. I haven't solidified that pick yet, but it certainly would be one of those 2 positions. I wouldn't take a linebacker in the first round. I would definitely take either a corner or offensive line. It's a good question. I appreciate you catching me on that. I would still lean Joey Porter at this time, assuming he's available at 16. And for my last statement, I was reading this article today on the team sale. It was an article 3 days ago, but some details seem to have gotten by me. So Todd Bowley was the front runner to buy the team, but is now backed out. Thank goodness, by the way. Josh Harris is now favored. Snyder said hell no to Bezos, but they say not to count him out because he's the only one that can afford the asking price. Also, that a return to RFK Stadium location is a real possibility, most likely a complete teardown and rebuild. And they would use FedEx as a viable practice facility. That's pretty exciting. Sorry for the novel length comment. No problem at all. Blood Clot, really appreciate you. Yeah, I mean, I think you are going to hear, and you said it, I think a month ago, KDot, maybe even a bit beyond that, you are going to hear names floated out constantly, right? And we are going to get a feel for these people and get to know these people. To me, there's still a decent ways to go. March would be amazing for a sale. I hope something is happening behind the scenes right now. I will say this about the comment. I'm a huge Arsenal fan, so I follow the Premier League quite a bit over in England. What Todd Bowley is doing with Chelsea and spending money on anyone and everyone is not something that's going to work in the NFL. It screams Snyder 2.0, honestly, where you're just throwing all this money at free agents, big splashes, stuff like that. It just doesn't work. So I am so glad that he has been ruled out. It's a never say never thing, but I hope that holds true because I think his style does not at all fit a salary cap system. Go ahead, KDot.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I don't know much about him other than when I did look into him. There weren't a lot of positive things said about it. Josh Harris, like as far as basketball teams go, I've always found myself, especially the last few years, rooting in some sort of way for the 76ers, just because I predict them to win a championship every fucking year and it doesn't happen. But so like I have appreciated the way he has run the way the teams that he has been a part of have been run. I don't know a lot about Crystal Palace FC, but as far as the Devils, as far as the 76ers, it seems like he's a guy that's willing to spend the money if he needs to, but will hire the professionals to take care of it. And I mean, if I look at basketball, there's not a lot of GMs I like more than Daryl Morey. And if he could find the NFL equivalent of a Daryl Morey and put him in charge here in Washington, I'm all for it.
What are your thoughts on just getting Daryl Morey?
I don't think his skill set translates to the NFL.
Yeah, it was more of a joke question. But
I thought about it.
But anyway, this was District Divided, a DC Sports podcast, more specifically a Commanders podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like it, please share it, please subscribe to the channel. Helps us a lot. Click the notification bell, comment as you always do. We really appreciate reading those and interacting with you guys. Till then, enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the slate of games in the NFL this weekend. And we will see you guys on the other side. Until then, take it easy. I finally saw Hustle yesterday, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. It was incredible. The moment he got to Spain and went to that pickup game,
just felt good.
I was hype as hell. How could you not be? They shot it really well. They shot the movie really well, in my opinion.
I thought it was a movie that when it initially came out, everyone that was in my preview that saw it was like, yo, this was fucking dope. Like, this was just cool. But the thing was, as the year went on, when other movies came out, it never got the same level of hype. I mean, is it some grandiose art film? No, but it was a lot of fun. It was just so much fun. And Anthony Edwards, I said this.
Oh, he was great.
I said this on podcasts, is that as far as his villainy, there's some vibes that he's given me. You know, I'm not gonna say it on this one, but
no, go ahead.
Nah,
it's after the pod.
I'm not gonna do it.
Everything goes here. You know
I'm not gonna do it just yet.
You gave me a psychological breakthrough a few months ago when I was like, no, I don't have a problem. I just go out a lot. It's different.
Yeah, it's dumb.
We're not rehashing that, to be clear. I ended up siding with you after that. That was the breakthrough.
Well, you were Paul Bettany on your roof the other night.
Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Throwing yourself off.
Say it.
I don't. I have to watch the movie yet. I haven't seen Hustle since it originally came out. But I remember my initial thought when watching it was, oh wow, he would have been so much better than Ray Allen as Jesus Shuttlesworth, and he got game. But then number two was that I'm excited. Anthony Edwards to me could be, his energy is weird. It's villainous, and I dig it. I'm saying like he gave me some Tupac vibes to a certain degree as far as acting. And the thing is that like the reason I didn't want to say it is that I don't think people understand of how high regard I think Tupac was as an artist when it came to his acting. I'm one of the few people
getting excited. It's similar to Carson Wentz. You just saw arm talent and got excited.
Well,
it's fine.
I'm one of the few people that think Tupac would have been a much better actor than ever a rapper.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think, just translating parallels here, do you think Anthony Edwards could be a better actor than basketball player? Because he's a pretty fucking good basketball player.
I don't think it'll quite get that level, but I do think that
he's got some talent. He's got some chops.
I would absolutely love to see him in more stuff. Like I look at that energy and like Kevin Garnett in Uncut Gems was a revelation.
He was really good.
He's great in it. Like that and when you hear that he wasn't the original pick, it was supposed to be Joel Embiid. And I think about that, I'm like, while Joel would have been fun, he would have not been able to bring
There's no way
energy.
he does what KG did.
No, KG has an entirely different
especially to the
Gems.
tension of Uncut Gems.
Mhm.
KG fit it perfectly.
Why the
Joel
fuck
would have
you show
broken
me
it a little bit.
And I can't have it's just KG was great in that. But that's the thing is like I need to see Anthony Edwards in more things.
Well, Anthony Edwards, what I really enjoyed about him was just the casual nature of like when you first see his name's Kermit Wills or whatever it is.
Mhm.
when you see the casual nature when he and Bo Cruz first play against each other, who, by the way, Hernan Gomez did a really good job too.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the whole thing, but when they're first just, leaning over for the tip off, and he's bringing this initial friendly energy, like, good to meet you, where are you from, stuff like that. And then you see the little psychological edge he's taking.
Yep.
And I tell you what, in terms of acting, when he waved, these are spoilers, by the way, but it's been out for long enough. When he waved,
It's on Netflix. Yes.
yeah, when he waved at Bo Cruz's daughter and she waved back, buddy, my blood, I was like, whoop his fucking ass. Like, I literally was just like, yeah, that's what I mean. I was literally like, I would lose it. Like, just end him. So when Bo Cruz didn't, I was like, that is tremendous restraint. Because if that happened to me, dude, it was such a powerful moment where it literally was, he was talking, it was working. And then he blocks the shot and goes, your daughter loves me. And I was just like, I'm literally physically, what did that scene do for you?
It was me. I'm like giggling and laughing through the entire fucking thing. But the reason being is that, like, what it did for me when it came to thing, because I was saying Anthony Edwards has already been one of my favorite guys in the NBA.
He's fantastic
because of his interviews and everything else, and just the attitude he plays with on the court.
Yeah.
And to see his charisma and how comfortable he is in front of the camera.
Mm-hmm.
And you think, all right, this is what this guy's going to be in this movie, is just this charming guy. And when it takes that turn,
yes,
and he's just as charismatic, he's just as comfortable. He's not trying too hard. It's effortless.
Yeah.
But you're like, oh, you motherfucker. And it was like, there's something here. There's something here. And I really, 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 really dug it.
Anyway, just to say, I really appreciate you giving the top 10 list and recommending that, because
absolutely,
I absolutely loved it. And on deck tonight, shout out Nandini, my sister, really appreciate it. I'm going to be watching Everything Everywhere All at Once. I'm very much looking forward to it.
Number one.
She texted me, and I trust your cinematic taste. I trust her cinematic taste. When you put it number one on your list, and when she texts me out of the blue saying, it is fucking incredible, I have no choice. My plans are made. I have to watch it tonight. So I'm going to, and I'm looking forward to it.
I've watched that now 4 times. Watch everything.
And I don't even know anything about it, really. I know you told me a little bit, but I prefer it that way. Like with Hustle, I didn't even know that Adam Sandler was a scout to begin the movie until, like, you see it. You're like, oh, okay, got it. Which that whole thing was done really well too.
They're elevator pitches, right? Like, if you had 30 seconds to tell somebody, what is this movie about? I don't think I could do that with Everything Everywhere All at Once, even though I've seen it and I actually think I'm being conservative. I think I've seen it 4 times complete, at least getting halfway through the movie and, like, having to go do other shit. I'm probably like 7, but and watching, like, certain scenes and then getting carried away with it.
I'm watching a subway bag fly from my apartment on the 7th floor over here.
It's fucking American Beauty.
Stop there.
You seen that movie, right?
I have.
Okay.
Way back when. But
right. Just making sure the reference and everything
was... no. I got that one.
That
might be the only one I would get.
What's the movie that spoofed it? Not Another Teen Movie, one of the most underrated comedies ever.
I did enjoy that movie, but they made a lot of those.
They didn't make it. It was only Not Another Teen Movie.
Oh, you know what? I was thinking about Scary Movie. They made
I think Scary Movie fucking sucks after 2.
But they kept making them. People keep going.
That's fucking those directors, and they did Epic Movie and all the rest of that bullshit after the Wayans lost the rights to it.
Whatever.
Fucking dumb.
What were we even talking about?
Everything Everywhere All at Once is, and to me, it's an achievement in cinema.
It's not a movie. It's an achievement.
Yeah, but once again, I'm not. I can't talk about it that much because of the toxicity of the fan base when it comes to that movie.
Oh, right. I do remember you mentioning this. Okay.
Even right now, as a person that has been a Rick and Morty fan, and I think I've talked about the show here on this pod.
The Venn diagram you were drawing. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm also not saying anything to anyone about my thoughts on Rick and Morty right now after what's happening with Justin Roiland. So
okay. Wait, what's happening with him?
Well, he got arrested for a 2020 domestic assault There's a
Ooh.
restraining order, and now there are people that have come out and have shown DMs and of some things that he has said
Oh
to
boy.
people, and it's the most I could say about it is it some of this stuff is hitting kind of close to some people that are close to me. So
Okay.
I'm just going to say that I hope, you know what? I'm just gonna leave it alone.
Fair enough.
Everyone that knows me and the people that know, they understand and they know where I'm coming from.
And that's all you need to know. Yeah, so I'm pumped to see that movie.
You haven't seen The Menu yet. The Menu.
No, not yet, but I just got an ad on YouTube for it because I don't have YouTube Premium or whatever it is. Which I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day. And he was just sort of getting frustrated with like women and stuff like that. And as I got off the phone and I got a YouTube ad, it was indianmatrimony.com. And I was like, you gotta be fucking shitting me. Like, it is insane what every device is recording you.
Oh yeah.
Let's just put it out there. Just
but
to
they
be
admit
clear.
that.
Yeah. But in case you still somehow were like, no, there's privacy. There is.
They've admitted that that's what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a secret anymore. All the companies have outright told you this is what we're doing.
So I made an account. No, I'm just kidding.
But that's what like it's annoying to browse through my phone because of the VPNs, and I don't have any cookies on, which makes some websites almost impossible if I could go through. But when I'm out in the regular internets, just browsing, Google kind of scares me.
Okay.
I mean, look, I'm never. Did you hear about this asshole Brian, whatever the fuck, that's now charged with killing his wife?
Oh, was he the one that was like Google searching like how to decompose a body and stuff like that? I saw
they got timestamps of everything that this dumbass fucking Googled.
It's not a laughing matter because someone died, but like that is absurd.
Jesus
what an
Christ.
idiot.
Like you fucking more like we're talking about motherfuckers that worried about them getting sold shit on the internet. They're looking for like
that is
what
insane
are you
to
doing?
me. But just generally speaking, you get married to somebody, and then the fact that this seems to happen with a decent amount of regularity is insane. People just like it's not. Hold on, your face told me that you think I think this happens in like 1 in every 2 or some shit like that. It's very rare. Let me start.
I'm not telling you what my face was saying.
You have to tell me what your face was saying.
Repeat what you said.
I don't remember what I said. It was something about I used the word regularity.
What's the longest relationship you ever been in?
How did we get here?
I'm
3
asking the
years.
question.
3 years. 3 years.
The humans.
Mhm.
It's really hard sometimes to maintain.
I now understand what your face is saying. All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
Now, once again, if you ever reached a point where at 4:55 a.m. on January 1st, you're Googling how long before a body starts to smell.
It was the New Year?
Yeah. New Year's morning.
Oh my God.
Motherfucker. Hold on. 4:55 a.m. How long does a body start to smell? 4:58. How to stop a body from decomposing. 5:20. How to embalm a body. 5:47. 10 ways to dispose of a dead body if you really need to. 6:25 a.m. How long for someone to be missing to inherit? 6:34. How do you throw away? Can you throw away body parts? 9:29. What does formaldehyde do? 9:34. How long does DNA last? 9:59. Can an identification be made with partial remains?
But
I'm halfway through.
Oh my God.
Google. Just
my
for
favorite
the money
was
of,
if you really need to. What if you really want to? You don't need to. You just want to.
Then the following day, January 2nd, 12:45. Hacksaw, best tool to dismember.
Oh my God.
Can you be charged with murder without a body? Can you identify a body with broken teeth? What happens to hair in a piece of shit? So once again, here's what I'll say.
I didn't know about all that.
No, he's an absolute piece of shit. Fuck him. Burn
Jesus.
out. You fuck the dumbest fucking idiot of it. And I just feel, look, it hits really close to home to me when it comes to domestic assault, domestic violence, and things like that, and knowing people that have died because of their spouse being a fucking ass piece of shit.
Yeah.
That it hits close. It is really, really hard for anyone to maintain some sort of relationship where you're with a person for a very long period of time without feeling a certain way that's not necessarily positive about being with that person. It's a fairly normal thought process.
You're gonna go through your ups and downs, right? And those downs, yeah, they can get quite low, certainly.
But it's how you deal with shit, and most of it has nothing to do with the other person. It has everything to do with the way that you handle shit. And if you're a fucking punk bitch who can't handle their own shit or realize that something's happening with them and go seek out and figure out the help that they need, or to just have the fucking balls to say, I'm removing myself from this situation.
Yeah.
And then leaving it alone.
But just to your point, like, even I was telling you that, I just took a nice little stroll along the roof. Appreciate the reference, by the way. And was just, talking to myself, and just any number of things was coming up, including it's a nice night out, or like, I'm enjoying the breeze right now. My right shoe is getting extremely wet for some reason. Yeah, Jesus. But one of which was reflecting on prior relationships and stuff like that, and then taking it from a different perspective, a different lens. And it was nice to be able to do that. And just to your point, that, yeah, some of the stuff I maybe thought was on the partner was actually a me thing. A lot of it is, to quote Hustle, it's you against you out there. How about that?
I won't be dropping Hustle. I don't think the movie was that smart.
Okay, but it works here. But it works.
It worked. Okay,
nice. Perfect. That's all I want.
Nicely done. I'll give
Come
you
on,
Bravo.
movie reference,
Nicely
baby.
That worked. Actually, that really worked.
Thank you.
The fucking video of this asshole. Are
you watching it again? Aren't you?
I'm just looking. It's just on Twitter, and it's just, yeah, Brian Walsh might be the worst criminal ever, and it's just him looking, and he's just shaking his head, and it's like, you motherfucker, we know you thought fucking in private mode. What is it?
Oh yeah, that'll do. Yeah,
work. You fucking piece of shit. Quick question before we go. Football related.
Yeah, of course.
Do you go after Lamar?
I'll be honest, and I don't mean it in the way I'm saying it. I think it is a pointless question because I don't think he's going to be available. I think he'll end up getting franchised, and they'll go from there. If he is available, let's say, right, to the point of your question, the crux of your question, how do you not? I mean, he's a former league MVP. He's electric. He has room to grow. How do you not?
You won't get Cam Curl back. You won't get Deron Payne back, and you're going to have to give up more to go get him.
But you are also okay. But I guess I'm also coming from the perspective of you get a unicorn at QB who
coming off an injury that might not be the same.
He will be the same.
Okay.
He will be the same. And the reason I think he could have played, I really think he could have played if he needed to, but chose not to because of the contract situation. That also weighed in. I think it became and which was smart, by the way. I mean, you see Baker Mayfield playing through injury in Cleveland. They discarded him like it was nothing. Like, this happens. You have to take care of yourself in this league. And I think as you get older, when you're younger, you think about team loyalty. You think about do what's best for the team. How could you think so selfishly? Right? It's always team first. It's what you're taught. But as you get older, you have to realize, and this, by the way, across all walks of life, you got to take care of yourself. Have to. There are business decisions to be made here. I think he made a brilliant one. He's going to be 100% fine. I think he'll be the same. Yeah. Would you?
I've heard people talk about that particular injury, and then getting confidence after you've had it can be a bit of a journey.
Certainly. But I believe because I'm not just trading for the quarterback. We talked about mentality with Carson. I think Lamar's got an insanely strong mentality.
Okay.
I think he has this drive to be the absolute best. Yeah, he could be a bit of a goofball sometimes.
It's the main reason I don't think he could play. I do think that he couldn't. Because I know Lamar in that sense, and I think he's a fucking crazy person for not playing on a long-term contract right now. I think he's I think he's being damn near careless. If I'm him and they franchise tag me, I'm not fucking playing a down. I'm not playing a single down.
You're forcing their hand.
If I'm him, right? But if I'm him, I might already have my contract because I wouldn't have had the balls to bet on myself that way. Because I actually think it's betting on yourself past a certain point where it's almost crazy. Like I'm not as gutsy as he is when it comes to that. I couldn't do that.
All the more reason you throw the bag at Greg Roman if he likes him, and you know that.
There's no chance Lamar Jackson is gonna go play with fucking Greg Roman again.
I don't think so either.
But and also just
I don't think he hates him though. But like he knows
it's not that he hates him. It's they don't run the football effectively when it comes to giving certain guys the amount of carries they need. Why are you keeping J.K. Dobbins, who's a legitimate back?
But surely, but to go back to your question, you're going after Lamar, right?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. There's no Lamar Jackson might be, as far as quarterbacks go, my favorite in the league right now. I think he's supremely underrated in what his value is.
Hold on, I want to amend my statement a little bit and say, if I'm a franchise that's not going through the transition that we're going through, like I would ideally like that structure to already be set up when you get a guy like Lamar.
I'm talking about right now. If Lamar says, "Hey, I don't really feel like moving too far away from Baltimore because I kind of got some things in the area," what does Washington have?
I would say I would not be mad at getting Lamar at all. I would be quite excited just from the myopic perspective, but I think that I would much prefer to have the new owner in here and have it be his or her decision, along with the team president and the general manager that we know are going to be in place. If that decision's made before the sale, I'm nervous about it. I'll be 100% honest about that.
No,
so
100% with you.
Yeah, so that's just the slight amendment I wanted to make to the statement. I think he is an unbelievable talent at the quarterback position. It's reckless to not even consider it, even in this shaky position we're in.
Yeah.
But I would much prefer to have that new owner in before making such a decision.
Also, I want to see what this deal looks like for him, because once again,
it's going to be fully guaranteed. All these QB contracts are going to be fully guaranteed, and it's going to be a ton. Deshaun changed everything. Thank you, Cleveland.
Haslam, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, thank you, Cleveland. Changed everything.
Yeah, he's like, as much as I want the players to get paid and they deserve guaranteed contracts, what Jimmy Haslam did, the wrong guy got it. Is the way I put it.
Yeah, basically.
Like Lamar deserved the first and it wouldn't have been as much. Like that. That's what it should have been. Is Lamar got the first guarantee, like of anywhere near that magnitude, but they gave it to the wrong guy. Fucking Jimmy Haslam. Which I actually think like maybe at least 5% of it was sticking it to a division rival, knowing that the contract, and then knowing that your other division rival has Joe Burrow and his payday's coming.
Right. So. Right. I mean, in that sense, a bit strategic, but maybe. Here we are.
But like, I would kill to have Lamar Jackson on my team, but I also would think that it might be the wrong decision.
I'll agree with that statement. But I wouldn't think it's the wrong decision again if we had the structure in place.
Yes, that's
around it. Yeah,
he's gonna eat up a lot of salary cap.
He certainly will. But yeah, as you said, this was the show. Really appreciate it, guys. See you guys next week. Enjoy.
In DC, we're just hoping that you listen.